Welcome to a New Beginning broadcast with Pastor James C. Carrington, pastor of the Willing Workers Baptist Church, a ministry of empowerment, evangelistic outreach, and economic development. So prepare your hearts for a new beginning with a life-changing word from Pastor James C. Carrington.
Heaven knows I didn't want to preach. I got to deal with people. I didn't want to preach because I'm up front. I may want to slip. I may want to go to the club. You ain't no better than me. I'm going to get on your street now. I may want to go in. I want to go Zydeco. You hear Miss Darcy over there talking about, I hear you. But you don't want to get to the Zydeco and I'm out there doing my thing. And then on Sunday morning, don't y'all go out there Zydeco. But God took me and molded me into a preacher. That's why I can't understand some preachers. How can you say you're a preacher and can't come to church but 1 hour Sunday? But you can go on that job and work all week. Come on now, don't get angry with me now. I'm trying to help you because God is forming you. And then you wonder why you ain't making it. You got to put God first. He's the potter. We're the clay. If he calls you to preach, be available. Y'all ain't helping me here now. If he called you to sing, be available. I'm got to hump this thing off. Once his hands have formed you into the beautiful vessel, you are still worthless and without function until he puts you in the fire. Now that's why you got to make sure he forms you. Because when he puts you in the fire, you know, fire burns. And see, he has to put you in a certain temperature. It says that when they put the clay in the oven, it had to be at least 500 degrees to make it strong. Now, once they put the clay in there, it had to set in the fire. See, sometimes God puts us in the fire. Now, the temperature got to be right. And it's a length of time you got to stay in there. But I've been preaching, and my church won't grow. I've been preaching, and I don't have a church. You're still in the fire. And when you're in the fire, it's no good. It's not good in the fire because it burns. But the fire makes you stronger. That you go through makes you stronger to handle the pressures of life. Said this morning, how can you pastor a church and you never been through nothing? You still at home with mama. Come on, help me here. You gonna pastor a church and you at home with mama and she paying your bills. Have mercy, my Father. You got to go through some stuff. That I preach to you, I've been through. Somebody ought to help me here. I've been through the storm and rain. I've been through the fire, and I've been in there a long time. And then, when he pulls you out the fire, you got to cool off. There's a cooling period. Now watch this, because I got to let you go. Once he takes you out the fire and you're formed, the only way he can reform you, he's got to break you. And if he break you, he can't make the clay over again. So you want to be sure that you're in the right form. So when you comes out the fire, he sets you, he cools you off, he looks at you. Now if he just left you there, you wouldn't be able to stand, because what happens before they glaze you, bugs and insects find little holes in the clay. But what the fire does, the fire exposes air pockets. And so they would take the clay and sand it down. Sometimes God has to sand us. It ain't as bad as the fire, but it ain't as good as it ought to be. He sands us. Some of us in the sanding process. We hadn't reached the potential yet, but he's sanding on us. We've been through the fire. It ain't bad as it used to be, but it ain't where it ought to be. You're praising God, but you ain't feeling what you ought to feel. He said. And then if he sets you there and don't glaze you, the bugs will find the little crevices.
You have just experienced the Searching Out Souls ministry with Pastor James C. Carrington. We hope that you enjoyed the message and that it will enrich your spiritual growth. You can obtain other powerful messages from Pastor on DVD for $20, VHS for $15, on CD for $10, or cassette for just $5. To order, simply call the numbers on screen or visit our website at www.willingworkers.com. Follow the sermon catalog link and pick from hundreds of messages to be delivered directly to your doorstep. Don't delay. Order your copy today. Coming soon in 2008, Pastor James C. Carrington Jr. and the Willing Workers Baptist Church will be opening a new location in the Texas City, Lamarck area. Stay tuned in the following weeks for more details. The Willing Workers Baptist Church and Pastor James C. Carrington Jr. invite you to come uplift the name of God with us. Services start at 8:30 a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. every Sunday, with midweek service starting at 7 o'clock p.m. every Wednesday night. Willing Workers Baptist Church, where everybody is somebody.